very, I guess, acting prostitute. She was more acting as like the seductress.
No, so
because if their intent was to rob me,
yeah,
then
she wasn't a prostitute. She was just trying to get you out there so her friend could rob you.
Or maybe it just depends. Like she is a prostitute and like she runs that hut, but then like if they see, maybe they thought I was drunk enough to where let's just do this. And this is easier because I don't actually have to have sex and I don't have to go through this whole thing and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Like we could just take them down to the beach and then we'll just rob them. They might have different tiers of how they rob and fuck with people.
Well, either way you were being fucked with, so
yeah,
it wasn't going to end well.
Oh, but what I forgot to mention is the girl that I had walked back to the room that was in our party.
Yeah.
Later told me that the prostitute had told her, my friend, not to go with me to the room.
What?
Yeah, and she's like, dude, he's with our party. Like she was warning her not to do it. Like, I think she was faking, like, you don't know this guy, or trying to talk so that I think she could have me. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So she would, like, again, this all kind of piecing together the whole story. It's not 100% that what I'm saying that I think this is what it was, that, there was a prostitute, they were trying to rob me, blah, blah, blah. I'm not 100%, but I'm fucking like 90, 95%.
Oh, they were definitely going to rob you.
Based on piecing it together. And like, what's this whole thing with walking down to the beach?
And then telling the other girl not to go with you. And
telling the other girl not to go with me like I'm a creeper. You know what I mean?
But she wanted to go to the beach with you.
But she wanted to go to the beach with me. So it kind of makes me like, all right, there's something up here.
Yeah.
And I did recall seeing a whisper. What? You don't hear it?
Now it went out in this ear.
All right, hold on.
Okay, it's back.
Back? Okay.
Yeah.
And I do recall a little bit of a whisper or a little small talk between them towards the end. The prostitute and the older guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you made the right decision.
I'm glad.
That one,
you know what?
so.
I'm glad I didn't roll the dice on. Yeah. Well, there's no way you would have gotten me out on the beach with her alone. Not in Mexico, and not after my spidey sense kicking in. But I certainly would have taken her to the room and found out there if she was prostitute or not.
Yeah.
And I would have either proceeded with that or not, depending on my mood. But the danger aspect is what I'm not down for. You know what I mean?
No.
So you come into the room, you're like, hey, baby, it's $200. Okay. Now you're being real with me. So I think next time I go down to Mexico or any kind of country where it's like prostitution is a thing, I'm going to be more upfront about it and just be like, look, I'm not trying to be rude here, but I've been hustled before. I'm not saying that you're trying to run anything on me, but I would like to know up front, like, are you real or are you working? And please don't take offense to that. But I've been hustled by really sweet, really nice girls to find out later that they're prostitutes, and try to, give it to them in a way that it's not offensive, but like, look, like this happens, I'm a tourist, I'm a guy, and just get it out of the way in the beginning. Because if she says no to that, then there's no way that later on she can pull some shit on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, kind of like that.
Yeah.
I want to hear your ayahuasca story.
Wait, I want
Dude, I'm fucking like out of breath. When I'm speaking, I'm like, and I felt that I was out of breath today too. And you know what I think it is I think it took so much out of me, that trip. Like the amount of drinking and just like abuse and sun, that it's just, I'm like fucking literally panting here talking to you. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you're not used to drinking that much. So,
yeah.
But I need to say that if you live in California where weed is legal and you go to the doctors and don't get approved for a card, you are a fucking retard. Because any monkey can walk in there and get a card. They literally...
It's that easy.
Make it so blatantly obvious. They have the approved medical, like, symptoms and treatments on the wall. It says, medical cannabis will cure and is good for the following. Blah, 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 blah. And then you go in the office and it says, why are you here? And you say...
It should be multiple choice. It should be multiple choice.
I have PMS. Okay, here's your card.
No, it should be I have A, PMS, B, headache, C, irritability, D,
all of the above.
All of the above.
But literally, I'm telling you, first, it's on the website. These are the approved medical conditions in which you can get a card. So then if you look at the website before you go, you already know. You walk in, it's on the fucking wall. They take you in the back. Why are you here? Oh, I have this symptom right here. Okay, great. Here's your card. They literally just put it out there in the open. So if you go in there and they turn you down, you're definitely stupid.
Like, you're so dumb, you can't even get weed.
It's literally, they make it so fucking easy. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect going in there. I didn't know. You're a retard if you don't get a card. Everything is on the wall. You just pick one. But just then, fucking pick one off the list.
What if being a retard is on the wall?
It's not.
Then there's no way that you can never not get weed. Because then you're just stupid.
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
So I'm just saying that they make it so anybody can get it.
Where did you do ayahuasca?
Oh my God, I don't remember. It was when I lived here the first time.
You did it in the States?
Here in California.
Okay.
We went like an hour north, but I forget which, what the area is called. But I went with this guy. We met on the set. We were doing background work together with another guy, and he's the one that told us about it. He's like, oh, there's this ayahuasca circle that I've been involved in, and this lady, she's kind of like I forget what the term is, but she leads the circle. Like, she chants, and she makes the fucking ayahuasca brew, and he didn't go to that one, but he was like, I'll give you the information. You can find out when the next circle is, and you guys can go. So me and this dude found out. We drove up there. Well, I drove, and we went. We were kind of out in the woods.
Do you get like a hotel or you camp?
No. We drove back that night.
You mean you drove to do ayahuasca
and then came home
and drove back the same night?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. So it was like
it had to be mild.
It didn't feel mild at the time. So we get there. We're in this like really remote location, kind of in the woods, but it's like redneck-ish because there's like all these like people living in trailers back where we were off this like dirt road in the back of somebody's house. And they have like this stone like seating area and like a fire pit. And we come and like everybody's already sitting there. And they all have these buckets. And I'm like, why do they all have buckets? Why did
throw up in?
Yeah, but
right,
but I didn't know, and neither did the person I came with. Like, nobody told us we needed to bring our own puke bucket.
And then comes Bella Bob Joe. I tell you what, boy, we're gonna do us some ayahuasca.
Shut up.
Me, you, Skeeter, and the whole gang here. We're gonna be doing ayahuasca. We'll get you high, and then you're gonna come down and be a whole nother Joe.
It wasn't anything like that.
Shit dang.
But it was a weird area we were in. So it was this older woman, and so I just didn't know how everyone else already knew to bring a puke bucket. Like, how did they know?
You didn't get the email or?
Nope.
No memo.
So they're like, oh, we have a few extra buckets, and I didn't know what to expect, and I'm like, I'm not fucking puking in front of all these people. This is weird. I didn't know. And so we drink the ayahuasca brew, and she starts like beating on this drum.
What does it taste like? What's the flavor profile?
It tastes like dirt, tree branches, and just nastiness. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever tasted.
So it tastes like Coors Light.
Coors Light is not that bad, but it literally is the most foul tasting.
And
it's gross.
What's the quantity? Is it like a cup, like 8 ounces? Is it like?
Oh, John, I don't remember. I don't know. I don't remember. This was years ago.
But do they dose it for you?
No. She makes it in a giant fucking vat and then pours it in our cup and we drink it.
No, that's what I mean. Dosage. So she controlled the amount that you had.
But some people asked for more and she gave them more.
Oh, wow. So these are people that probably have gone there. And
I'm assuming that's why they already knew to bring their puke bucket and we didn't. So I'm sure they've been there before. Anyways, it tastes disgusting. It is literally the nastiest thing I've ever had. And there's nothing I can compare it to. It's just foul. And so she starts like kind of chanting and beating on this drum, and you kind of like people, it was cold, and so people had like sleeping bags and like thick winter jackets because we were an hour north, and at night, you know, the temperature drops, and it was quite chilly, and I remember it being in October. So we went, and I kind of just started to settle in, and I feel like it hit me later than everyone else because I heard people just like, I laid there with my eyes closed, and I could just hear people just starting to puke around me, like just puking into their buckets. And I'm like, nobody warned me or said anything about that was like a thing. Even the person that was like in charge and like leading the circle, she didn't say you guys are going to puke. Like, so I'm like, why? This is weird. And
did you end up puking?
Yeah, I was the last person to puke, and I puked right when we were ready to leave. I held it in.
So you puked after the trip or near the end of your trip?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I didn't realize it was supposed to happen, and I didn't want to puke in a bucket in front of a bunch of strangers. So I was laying there, like rolling around on the ground for like 3 hours, having a very horrible trip.
Well, you were in discomfort, right? Because you had that nausea.
And feeling nauseated the whole time.
Right.
So
yeah, that's what the puking is supposed to do. I know people that puke on mushrooms. It's very common to puke on psilocybin. And I recall, and I've heard this from other people as well, is when you puke, it's almost symbolic of getting rid of all the shit you're holding on to.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's this relief because you do feel nauseated. And that sensation of nausea when you're in a psychedelic state kind of gets translated into other things. So you might emotionally feel fucking crazy, or you might feel upset. But when you puke, you feel better, like a weight, and then all of a sudden the trip begins from there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for me.
So by you holding it in, I think you were just retaining this, like,
I guess.
You know.
I didn't analyze it too much because, you know, I enjoy doing shrooms. So I thought the experience was going to be similar to that, and it was nothing like it.
Yeah, supposedly psilocybin, I don't recall the drug groups that these two drugs are in, but psilocybin is like one type, and then ayahuasca and DMT are kind of in their own group. So different from each other.
I just know it gave me a pounding headache. It was not a good trip, and I felt sick the entire time, and I never want to do it again. I know people that, you know, I guess people make trips to South America and will do it like once a year.
I know people that it changed their life. They're like, it completely made me like a better human being.
Yeah, I just did not have that experience, and I wanted nothing more than for it to end. And the only thing that kept coming to me in that 3 fucking hours while I was tripping was I could choose to die and just start over. And it was literally as simple as that thought. It's like you could leave this body and this life
if you so choose
to right now. And that's all that kept coming to me over and over and over again. And then it was like there was 2 beings inside of me dueling it out for like this current incarnation. Like one was saying, you can end it whenever you want. You don't need to stay here and suffer. And then the other one was like, no, I believe in this girl and I'm not going to let her go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a trip.
So for 3 hours, it was just this 2 sides of my brain arguing with each other.
It sounds to me that 3-hour-long trip is quite short for ayahuasca. Maybe you didn't do a lot. Perhaps if you did more, that you would have had a different experience and maybe even a more positive way. You would have thrown up earlier on, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to ever do it again, even though I'm not planning on it, but never say never, then I would know not to like hold that in. But like, I just felt uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm surrounded by strangers and I don't want to just vomit in front of them.
Well, I know friends that have gone to, I believe it's Peru.
Yeah.
And, you know, they go to the jungle and some, you know, hut or some place where, you know, it's like they're all sitting in a room. There's like 12 people, the shaman, you know. And
well, Chelsea Handler, I know you don't really follow her or know who she is, but she has her own show on Netflix, and she went on her show. The episode is called Chelsea Does Drugs, and she went as part of the episode to Peru and did ayahuasca with a group of her friends, with like a person leading it, and showed them all like puking and like having their trip. And
I have a problem with that because now I think, whereas maybe a couple years ago, if we were talking about ayahuasca, people would be like, what the fuck is that? But now most people probably know what the fuck we're talking about.
So why do you have a problem with it?
So the problem I have with it is now it's on the mainstream. Now it's in the mainstream media that this is a thing. So this is what's going to happen is you're going to have less authentic places to be able to do ayahuasca, even in South America. You're going to have less authentic because you're going to have this sort of constant flow of gringos coming down trying to get this experience that they saw on fucking TV. And
yeah, but Johnny, also, it's also a double-edged sword because then it's good because it's getting the word out to the masses. Because if it does have this profound, powerful, healing, positive effect, then everybody should be able to experience
100%, I agree with you. And it should not be a secret. But what I don't like is when the mainstream media gets into it, because whatever they touch, it becomes tainted. Mainstream. It's one thing for people like you and I to talk about it, and people that are more on the enlightened tip to want to hear about this kind of shit. But then to see it on a fucking show on Netflix,
okay, well,
I have a problem with that. Now, here's the thing: is what that show just did. I'm gonna tell you right now what that show just did. It did a little bit of good because it got the word out, and I'm sure a lot of people that didn't know about it might have tipped it over the edge, and they're like, "Awesome! Like this is something I want to explore," and that's a good thing. People need, like we said, people need to do psychedelics to get them out of the box. The problem is that I 100% believe that now you're going to get these sort of Mickey Mouse type places that it's just more easy for, you know, people people to come down and just do this thing, and it's just a fucking sham.
Yeah, but I don't think so, because if you haven't seen the episode, and if you do, they literally had to take a plane, a bus, and a boat to go into the middle of fucking nowhere in the jungle of Peru.
Is this a sitcom show, or is this like an Anthony Bourdain like documentary kind of deal?
Well, Chelsea Handler is a comedian, and she had her own talk show on E! For like 7 years. So now she's on Netflix, and this was like a 4-part documentary, and each episode was her integrating her brand of comedy with like a documentary style show. Okay,
so I think this is where I have to agree with you a bit more, because I was under the impression that this was sort of like a sitcom, or like one of these like Netflix original like Love, or like, you know what I mean?
It's not a scripted show.
That's what So the fact that it's like a documentary is a little bit more okay.
Yeah.
But I think once you start, here's my thing.
Not everyone has the money and is going to jump on a plane to Peru. And it's not like Peru is a first world country where you just get off the plane and there's strip malls and people can just walk into one and do ayahuasca. It's in the middle of the fucking jungle. So I don't think it's going to be tainted in the way that you think. According
to some people that kind of paved the way for even us, you know, like the first adventurers into coming down to the jungles, like before any of us knew about this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to beat a dead horse, but my good pal, Terrence McKenna, you know what I mean? Like, I love his shit. He talks about it. And before anybody knew about it, him and his brother Dennis were going down to the jungles and searching out these shamans.
Mm-hmm.
And according to them, it's almost like a 10% chance, or 10% of all the places that do it are doing snake oil. They're selling snake. It's bullshit. Like it's not even real ayahuasca, or it's a very weak brew, or they're not like really good shaman. It's like they're just in it for the hustle, versus that there are the 10%, there are real shamans that have been doing this shit, you know, passed down from generation to generation, and it's the real deal. But they said that they had to sift through a lot of bullshit to get to the real shit. So it wasn't as easy as, you know, like you say, you get off the plane and they're just handing out fucking let's do ayahuasca brochures.
It's not like that.
It's not like that. You actually have to do a lot of footwork, a lot of research to find out who's real and who's not.
Right.
But my fear about it ending up in mainstream media not so much this Chelsea Handler type deal, but more like a situational comedy where it's just like they're poking fun at it or something, where now everybody knows, like the kind of people that actually like watch stupid shit, like the Kardashians. Like if the Kardashians went down and did fucking ayahuasca on their fucking shitty show, then I have a big problem with it, because now you're telling these people that are quite asleep to go and do this thing, and they're absolutely not ready for it, because that is 10 times they're in elementary school, and that's PhD shit. They're absolutely not ready for it.
Right.
And I think once you get those fucktards to come down to South America, now you're going to start seeing the strip malls where it's like they're selling like a little travel agency. You go in there and like, oh, here's the ayahuasca tour.
Yeah.
You know, because then it becomes too mainstream, and you kind of have to keep it sort of, I don't want to say secret, but it has to be considered almost sacred.
Yeah.
And the moment you get the fucktards that watch Kardashians to come down and do it, now you start getting a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
I do.
I almost feel like they're not ready for that shit yet.
Well,
People like you and me and people that are a little bit more awake, I think, are the ones that need to explore it so that we can kind of kick down the knowledge to other people that may be ready. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's something you need to worry about. You know, I mean,
I'm off my soapbox.
It's not something you can control either way. And
could you imagine Kim Kardashian and her shitty sisters going down, like literally going down on their show to do ayahuasca?
No.
And what a fucking shit show that would be.
No, but I would watch it.
I would actually watch that. That would be, and they come back and they're actually like, oh my God, we're ugly people. We're going to stop doing this show. Oh my God. Why? And they have this fucking epic breakdown. And they tell Bravo, fuck you guys, we're out.
It's E, but yeah.
Whatever. E, Bravo, same shit.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't want to ever do ayahuasca again, but I'm ready to get back on the mushrooms. So as soon as you're ready, we need to
we'll talk about it.
Take a trip this summer, camping trip.
So let me ask you, the dispensaries do not have anything besides weed?
No, it's just weed.
And the CBD and all that shit?
Yeah, just like the edibles, and then, you know, whatever you want to smoke, and then the CBD oil.
Okay.
And then they have like CBD capsules in pill form, but like 2 gel caps of CBD oil is $10. The shit is expensive.
So tell me a little bit more about CBD versus THC.
Well, THC is what makes you high and hallucinate and have that high sensation. The CBD oil is separate, and that is where like the medicinal qualities come in. So the oil that I have, the THC has been taken out. It's been removed.
Right. So CBD and THC exist. They're main compounds of cannabis, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they've taken out THC. So you take this oil and you don't actually get high at all.
So they say. I haven't taken it yet.
So I want to hear your experience when you take CBD next time we talk, and we'll see how it affected you.
I'm gonna take it tonight for the first time, but like I said, I'm just gonna drop it. It's 1/4 teaspoon. I'm gonna drop it in under my tongue and then go to bed. So I probably won't feel anything. We'll see if it gives me fucked up dreams.
Why would you take it going to bed?
Because it makes you tired. The girl told me. She said it makes you drowsy.
Okay, so but the reason why you took it in the first place is because it's good for bone. Like density, you said?
I am taking it because it's supposed to help with pain management, and because a study that I read said that it helps bone fractures heal quicker and actually helps the bone grow back thicker and stronger.
So it's like a double whammy. Not only are you getting pain medication, but you are also getting a healing medication in one package.
Well, so they say. I don't know.
Okay.
You know, I haven't, like I said, and there was 2 different bottles with 2 different doses, and I wanted the stronger one, but it was $120. So I just opted for the lesser dosage for $50, just to start with, to see, because I didn't know how my body was going to respond. I didn't know what kind of reaction I was going to have. So I got the cheaper one with the lesser dosage, and it's supposed to have, like, if I only take it once a day, I should have enough for a month.
That's not a bad deal. $50 for a month's supply.
But I mean, on the back of the bottle, it's saying a serving size is 1/4 teaspoon, but then it's also saying take 30 drops up to 4 times a day. which I would go through. If I took 30 drops 4 times a day, it would be gone in like a week.
Right.
So,
okay. Well, start out slow and see how you feel.
I don't even know if it's going to work, to be honest.
Right.
I'm just at my wit's end with my pain, and the doctors don't know what's wrong, and I need something, and I don't want to like be taking ibuprofen every day of my life. So,
did you read about ibuprofen, by the way?
No.
An article is out. I caught a little bit of it. Somebody posted it on Facebook, and I'll try to link this article later if I can find it. But apparently new studies have come out about ibuprofen is quite bad for you. Like much worse than we thought. And ibuprofen is what? Advil, and there's like a couple brands that is like actual ibuprofen. But I know for a fact Advil is ibuprofen. Careful there. And apparently, people are basically dying from ibuprofen. Like it's got a rate that's quite unfavorable as to the negative shit that people are getting. Not only death, but like I think heart-related things from fucking ibuprofen. Like I thought it was like the safest, like Advil or I'm sorry, like aspirin or something. Like just very safe, and people even recommend taking it every day because it's good for this and that. Like they say for old people to like take shit like that every day. I think it might just be aspirin.
It's aspirin, not.
But you get my drift. Like it's something. Just take an Advil. You got this, take an Advil. You got a headache, take an Advil.
Yeah.
But holy shit, if people are like dying. But then again, it comes down to any unnatural drug. I'm not talking about CBD. I'm not talking about cannabis or ayahuasca or anything like that. I'm saying like any man-made drug. It's like no matter what, there are way more side effects with any man-made drug than any natural drug in existence.
Of course.
And it's like, why haven't we caught on and just been like, it's funny because how I don't have television. I watch Netflix. I stream.
I don't have television.
Neither
either.
do you. Right.
Yeah.
We have it in common. And it's funny because whenever I go to buddies' houses, like when I went down to San Diego before we went to Mexico, my buddy's like huge TV guy. Love him to death. And we nicknamed him Kenny TV because he said it's like he loves TV. That's his thing. And he has like these 2 huge screens. So when they watch sports, like they have like Sports Center on one, and then they have like the main games on the other. But he has cable, obviously. And whenever I go over to their house and I watch cable with them, I watch TV. Just every commercial is like
drugs.
medication, lawyer for medication because it caused this, and that. And then it's car commercials, and then some fear-based shit. And it's like, there's always something that's like trying to get you to buy something out of fear. I remember like, this was today actually on my way up before I left. We were watching the news, which is never good to do. But it was some medication that has side effects XYZ. And then it was life insurance because in case you die, you need people to, and then I shit you not. And then the third commercial, this is all in a row. And the third commercial was, we are, Johnson & Johnson lawyers, Jacoby and Myers or whatever lawyers. And, if you, between this and that took XYZ drug, we want to talk to you, because it probably caused, or cases are showing that it causes breast cancer or something like that. And then it's back to the news and all these fucking shit talking heads talking about stupid shit that means it's just rhetoric over and over and over and over. And I'm like, I'm so glad I don't watch TV because this is brainwash. Fear, 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 fear. Shitty opinion, shitty opinion, shitty opinion.
Yeah.
Fear, 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 fear.
I must say, because I also don't have television, and if I go somewhere and I sit in like a lobby or a waiting room, like if you're getting your oil change, for example, and they have a TV there and there's just some shit playing and the news is on, and you can't help but hear it or watch it because that's all that's in there. And I'm like, I'm so aware of like the garbage and the lies and like they're like spewing because I don't ever watch it. So
right.
when I do hear it,
so we're more sensitive too when we hear it.
When I do hear it, I'm like, holy shit! Like this is so much propaganda.
It's so blatant, isn't it?
But the people who listen to it day in and day out constantly,
it becomes the norm to them,
right? So they're not realizing how fucked up it is.
And they don't realize the damage that it's doing to them and that it's creating a pattern of thinking in themselves.
Yeah, because like everything is just bad, negative, fear-based.
Everything.
Cancer this, cancer that. And I wanted to mention this. I said this last time we were talking. I feel like we're programmed almost to get cancer because
you hear it over and over.
You hear it repetitively.
Yeah.
There's always on the news, on the radio, somebody is saying something about cancer. Then you're driving down fucking Hollywood Boulevard and there's a huge billboard about cancer and cancer hospitals and cancer treatments and cancer medication.
Eventually, like the mind is going to take that and say you have cancer.
Right.
And
exactly.
then if the subconscious mind believes it, I don't fucking doubt. And we know how powerful the mind is.
That's why I'm saying it's everywhere. It's where you hear it, you see it, you open up Facebook and there's something there that says cancer. It's on the radio, it's on the billboards, it's in the magazines, and then it's on the commercials and then the TV. So it's just cancer, 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 cancer over and over and over and over again. And I just feel like we're almost being programmed to get it.
Right. Man. But it's also true that, the cancer rates are going up and up. And I don't remember if we talked about this yet, but I just want to put it out before I forget and never ever talk about this on the show. But did I tell you about the email that I got from? It was either the American Diabetes Association or like one of these we're on your side trying to fight this disease and together we're gonna do it. Did I tell you about that email I got?
We had this conversation, but I don't remember all of it.
If we did on the show, well...
No, we didn't talk about it on the show.
Well, the thing that blew my fucking mind is in here, and I think this is where it's kind of like being aware, like as obvious as this is, like a normal person may not even think of it this way. And they would just take the email at face value and be like, oh yeah, you're celebrating. So what they were saying is we are celebrating our 75th anniversary. Let's just say it was the American Diabetes. I think it was diabetes. So American Diabetes Association, whatever they're called, whatever the largest one of that is.
Yeah.
And, we're celebrating our 75th. And I'm thinking to myself, you mean to tell me that you are telling me in this email that you are celebrating, you are partying, you are enjoying the fact that you have failed for 75 years. And it goes to show me that not only the arrogance that goes into that email, but that they, you know what I mean? Like the brainwash of everybody, that the people, the marketing department didn't even think how that would come across. How about if I was in the marketing department, I would have been like, we've been in existence for 75 years and we don't want, with your help, we don't want to be in existence for one more because we're going to beat this thing. Something like that. Not we're celebrating, so donate now. We're celebrating that we've been around for 75 years.
And we still haven't cured diabetes.
Come party with us at Cabo Cantina and let's get fucked up on tequila. Don't worry, the bill's on us, And I'm thinking to myself, holy shit. I bet you nobody caught on to that. I bet you most people are like, yeah, and donate here. Let's donate for a good cause, honey.
Yeah.
Me, I almost wanted to I'm glad we're talking about it, and I'm going to look and see if I still have that email. Because I will take a screenshot and post it and be like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And this is the kind of world we live in, where these establishments, who, by the way, these CEOs of these companies, which supposedly are not for profit, but as I learned in business school, not for profit doesn't really mean shit, because there's a lot of money made, and they just can't show a profit at the end of the year, but they can certainly make a shit ton of money salary wise. So the guys at the top, the CEOs that are running these not-for-profit, American Heart Association, and they're making money like they're working for banks.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, they are in existence. It is a conflict of interest. They are in existence to perpetuate their existence. Because if they cure the disease, guess what? The CEO and everybody else is out of business.
Right.
No more Diabetes Association. Oh, we're all out of business. They don't want that. If they're as profitable as they are, in the way that not-for-profits can be profitable, do they want to find a cure? Fuck no.
No, but that's the other reason why they I don't know. They're so against holistic medicine and don't want to legalize cannabis. Okay, that's the other thing. The fact that you can only get medical marijuana in California and Colorado, right? Those are the only 2 states right now? Or is there anywhere else?
I don't know about that. I don't know how many states it's not in all states yet.
No, but it's only in very few. And the only 2 I know of off the top of my head. And I think they might have just started approving it in New York, but not all of it. Not like full-blown like dispensaries like we have here. And I think what it's allowed to... I think they've only approved it for like seizures. You know, like how I just told you, there's like a list of like 20 different things you could walk into a doctor here and you'll get your card. I think in New York, they only approved it as a viable option for seizure medication. But anyways, I think it's utterly fucking ridiculous that it's not available in all 50 states. That
we're getting there slowly. I agree, but we're getting there. Eventually, I'm sure it will. I'm sure.
But it's just, I watched something the other day. I forget what it was on. But this family in Ohio, they had a young child who had up to like 1,000 like micro seizures a day. 1,000. And they're micro seizures, like just full on, like, and they last a couple seconds and they stop. They moved from Ohio to Colorado where they could get the medical cannabis. I think they were taking CBD oil or some oil form, and they were giving it to their child. And within the first 24 hours, that child's seizures diminished.
Wow.
And now it's been, I think, over a year. And that child went from having 1,000 seizures a day to just a few because she's given cannabis oil every single day. And this family is like, well, it's really sad that we had to move all the way across the country and we can't see our friends and our family back home in Ohio. And that we had to move our whole lives within the same country, but to a different state just to get that treatment for their child. It's absurd that it's legal in one state and not another. It's
I 100%
ridiculous.
Agree, especially on a issue like that. And I think it's absurd that as a country, we have outlawed cannabis for as long as we have in this day and age. And that in most states, it's still illegal. It blows me away. And it tells me where we are as a society or as a culture, that something that has as many benefits as it does, it grows from the fucking ground.
Right, but that just goes back to what we were just talking about. It's not owned by the pharmaceutical company.
Exactly.
So what they're going to do is figure out a way to own it.
Yeah. Yeah. It may be, God forbid this happens, but it may be where, they create a synthetic CBD.
Oh, it's already in the works. That a GMO.
Then you could patent.
Strain.
Yeah, then you can patent that, and now some company has control over it, and FDA gets to make more money. Yada yada.
Right.
But it absolutely is about the corruption that exists in the sort of dance that's going on between the Food and Drug Administration and essentially the pharmaceutical companies. And I know, we're beating a dead horse. I know a lot of people talk about this, but it needs to be said. It needs to be said every day because we're still not doing a fucking thing about it. Now, the fact that we're talking about it is a good sign. And more people are waking up to the idea that the pharmaceutical companies and the FDA are not necessarily your friend. There may be certain benefits, and there are certain drugs that certainly...
The FDA is a fucking joke.
I know.
It's a joke.
But you get good with bad, but in this case, you're getting a lot more bad than the good with every institution. Now, obviously the FDA, there are certain things that they keep in check that is good, so people aren't just like straight up dying right away when they eat a carrot. You know what I mean? Like there's a pesticide that would just fucking kill you right away. At least they have it to where the pesticides they give us kill us in 30 years, which they do, by the way.
But the FDA standards...
There's some kind of control.
The FDA standards are shit compared to, like, the EU. The the FDA allows all these chemicals and shit in our food that European countries do not allow.
They ban, absolutely.
So their standards are garbage.
I agree. At the same time, there are certain things that if you didn't have some organization saying this is not good, or somebody that put agriculture or the food supply in check to some degree, it would be a fucking free-for-all and you would never know it was in your food. So at least we have some element of control, but it is very much not there.
Yeah, but the FDA is being run basically by Monsanto. So is it really that helpful? Is it really?
Well, again, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying that the FDA is very corrupt. But I'm also saying that without them, with no organization, it could be a fucking free-for-all.
No, I get that.
And so, like, it could really be dangerous. Like, what you would never know. There would be no food labeling. There would be nothing. So at least they've established that. But I'm saying, yes, there's a lot of corruption, and they are run by big money, big agro, big pharma, and Monsanto, which I guess you can consider big agro. But the fact that they are food and drug is a conflict of interest in itself. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do it a little bit better, you're going to have a completely separate organization for drug, and you're going to have a completely separate organization for food. Not the same. Mm-hmm. Because again, the incentive based on the amount of money that's made and the legal kickbacks and illegal kickbacks that get made, but so that we don't sound like conspiracists here, there is so much legal money, legal bribery that goes on between the pharmaceuticals and the FDA that the FDA has an incentive to keep drugs on the market, no matter what. And if they're in charge of foods and they're in charge of pesticides and what can be put in the food supply, then that by definition is a conflict of interest because now they have control over what you put in your body pre-drug and what drugs will treat those ailments in which you're putting in your body. They have an incentive to push the drugs, so therefore they will pass certain pesticides and certain ways of manufacturing foods that are very destructive to you so that new drugs can be put on the market to combat XYZ problem with those chemicals. That's called
playing both sides.
Exactly. And it's a huge problem that not enough people are talking about. And there's got to be a complete dismantling of the FDA. And again, as with any empire, you rebuild another one. And in the beginning, it may have good intent, much like this great country of ours. But down the road, it becomes a very thing in which it was trying to combat. Mm-hmm. So at least in the beginning, if we dismantle it and we create a new organization, maybe two separate organizations, one for drug and one for food, we would probably see a prosperous time, at least for a while, until they got too big, and then it goes back to square one, as everything goes through cycles. Mm-hmm. But certainly the way it is now is not good at all. And when you look at the cancer rates and everything's going up, and the American Diabetes Association is celebrating their 75th anniversary of keeping this disease alive, we got problems.
Right.
And nobody gets mad when they see that email. And that's what gets me
It's
angry.
like, hey, we've been failing for 75 years. Come celebrate.
We'll be down at the Cabo Wabo. Shots of tequila. We want you to get diabetes.
Yeah. All right.
Diabetes makes our CEO lots of money. Fucking pricks.
And yeah, actually, I was just talking to my dad today, and he's diabetic. It runs in our family, and I don't know what he's doing about it. I don't know. I think he's on medication, and I just don't know.
Yep. It's pretty much expected that you're going to get one of the, I forget what they call it, the big five, or there's however many amount of...
What? Cancer, diabetes, and what else?
Cancer, diabetes, arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and there's like one other, and it's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to get one of those 4 or 5. Like guaranteed, like pick one. So it's not like, they're like, oh, it's about a 40% chance that you're going to get cancer in your lifetime as an American, which by the way is really bad in itself. But if that's 40%, and then MS is 5%, and diabetes is 20%, and you add them all up, and it's literally like 200%. So you're probably going to get 2 of them. You know what I mean? Hold on a second. I'm going to run to grab myself a beer. Want anything?
Water.
Okay. Yeah, man, I can't believe you had such a trip on half a joint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I should say it's refreshing that there are other people just as crazy as I am. Because when I smoke, it's, like I said, it profoundly affects me. Whereas it seems like most people, like one of my buddies got his master's, so he smoked fucking stoned every day. Whenever he smokes, I can't even tell. It's like, man, I'm fucking stoned right now. I'm like, I can't even tell that you're stoned. If it were me, you would know that I was stoned.
Yeah.
Like, there's no getting away from it. So, it just could be, obviously it's a tolerance thing. People that smoke every day and then they kind of up the dosage, eventually they can smoke all day long.
Well, that's like a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah, like a functioning stoner, functioning alcoholic. Or, it's probably, that's a combination of that and just who you are. Like, I can't imagine me, who I am, ever being able to reach that state with cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could ever smoke all day like a lot of my friends do and not have a profound effect.
Yeah, I mean, I just honestly, it made me unable to do anything. And so I would only smoke it, I guess, on like special occasions, or like if I knew I wasn't going to leave the house, I didn't have something to do.
Yeah, like I said, man.
Definitely do it in the evening when I'm ready to go to bed, because I don't know how these people like wake up and the first thing they do in the morning is smoke. Like as soon as they open their eyes.
Wake and bake and they go about their day.
How the fuck do you do that?
If I did that, there is not one thing I could probably accomplish. Like I said, going to the store would be an entire mission for me.
Right.
Forget driving a car. There's no way I could operate a machine.
Well, when I was smoking last night, this whole half a joint there, I had clothes in the wash, which is in the next building over and in the basement, and I was fucking stumbling to walk over there. Like I couldn't walk in a straight line just to go get my clothes.
I would have gotten lost. Like that's how it is. Like everything, I have zero perception of direction, and everything kind of looks the same, So I'd probably get lost on the way to the fucking store. Let alone I probably wouldn't be able to find my way out of this apartment building.
Really?
Really. Really.
Interesting.
So here again, this is where I have to be kind of like the mad scientist. And if I'm going to smoke, I'm going to lock myself in a room and I'm going to dim the lights, get some incense going and write some fucking music.
Yeah.
And that's what I do,
Yeah.
Or, listen to something that's inspiring, listen to some Pink Floyd, get a little inspiration, get lost in that, and then immediately get over to the keyboard and start laying down some chords, But to actually function in society, that's not who I am. And maybe that kind of, to get deeper about this, maybe that explains how, to some extent, how I am normally. And that just kind of augments that. Because I have no problem locking myself in a room for 8 hours, doing a podcast like me and you, or maybe doing a couple episodes, writing some music, reading some books. I could totally be a loner and be cool with that. You know what I mean? But I know people that can't do that. They just don't have the ability to sort of just be with themselves. You know what I mean? Like, those people that they have to be out.
My roommate is like that. He can't be with himself.
He's a total social butterfly. And you could tell. It's funny you say that, because when he goes out, he's the life of the party. He's a fun dude.
He can never just be alone. If he has the night off, like if it's his day off, he can never just stay in the apartment, relax on the couch, watch a movie, read a book, chill and do nothing. He has to be out. He can't be with himself ever. So,
well, that does explain his personality. He's a great guy. I like him. He's actually one of my more favorite people in LA, even though we don't hang out a lot.
Yeah.
The bit that we have.
Yeah.
He's a cool fucking dude. I like him.
Oh, he absolutely is.
But definitely, like, when we go out, he's just one of those guys where you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Like, you go out with, you're having a good time.
Don't say his name.
I'll bleep it.
Yeah.
So anyway. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. So I recently started watching Maron on Netflix, which is Mark Maron's.
The comedian.
Yes, but I heard of Mark Maron years ago, but I never got into him. I remember meeting a guy on set, and he was really into Mark Maron, and he was always talking about his podcast, and I was just like, whatever, that's not my thing. Well, now, all these years later, now that we're doing the podcast, I started kind of listening to other people's podcasts and, the Joe Rogan podcast and Bill Burr and listened to a little bit of Mark Maron, but I started watching Maron's show on Netflix, and it's just called Maron. And it's actually really amusing and really funny. And
I like him. I saw him live at the Comedy Store.
Oh, you did?
Up on Sunset.
So
he made a cameo appearance. He wasn't scheduled. He just came in.
Nice.
And he's very dry. His humor's very
dry.
And you could tell that he goes over a lot of people, including myself. Like you could tell like he's doing some shit that people get. And I'm just like, I have no fucking clue where you're getting with this.
It's so funny because I'm a coffee addict. Okay, I need coffee.
We know this.
No.
You just downed a quadruple iced coffee. Something like that.
Well, nobody else knew that but you, but okay.
Coffee addict, continue.
So I'm a coffee addict, and so it was so interesting because I was watching an episode of Maron the other day, and in the beginning of the episode, he goes into this bougie coffee shop, and he said, "I want a triple shot of espresso over ice." And the douchebag clerk was like, "No, man, no ice. It's policy." And he's like, "What do you mean?"
What?
He's like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "It ruins the integrity of the bean."
Oh, so he went.
So, and he goes, "Listen, I am just trying to get this in my body in the most efficient way possible, so life feels like it's worth living for 2 hours." And I busted out laughing. Because that is so applicable to my life.
Yeah.
Because you don't drink coffee every day. I do. And him saying that was like he was talking to me. I'm like, that's exactly how I feel. Because I have my morning coffee. I make a pot. It's a mini pot. So I get 2 cups worth out of it. And
I've had the Nikki brew. And that shit is like tar.
Yeah.
It's strong fucking coffee.
Yeah.
So 2 cups for you is like probably 4 to 6. But anyway, continue.
And so him saying that, I'm like, that's precisely how I feel on a daily basis.
I think you should try to become a functioning stoner, like a lot of my friends, because...
Yeah, but it's more expensive. Johnny, that shit at the dispensary is not cheap.
Well, it's all fucking like chronic times 10, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's like...
You know what? Where's the weak shit? Be like, hey, where's the Mexi? The what? Bring it back to 93.
Right.
Where's the Mexi weed? Where the fuck?
So that's the thing. Being a functioning stoner would be all well and good if I had the money to spend at the dispensary. And as I told you, they only accept cash. So I can't put shit on the credit card.
This time, don't smoke half a joint because then I'm sure you'll be levitating instead of driving to wherever you need to go.
Right.
With the universe, man. Yeah, and I just found out we were all one, man. and I was like talking to myself.
Yep. That's exactly
you
what
smoked
happened.
half a joint. Nah, but I'm with you on that. I would be the same. I would be the same way. But so, I know about your experience, and it's funny, Maron's experience with coffee. Not that I get the shitty barista, with the fancy mustache and his knowledge of beans.
I'm gonna make you watch that clip on Netflix before I leave.
I will totally watch it.
So fucking funny, man.
But I do know the effects of coffee. And it's been kind of a tradition in the podcast where we all kind of have this iced coffee brew. This time you brought a different brew, which I'm actually kind of happy with. It's called, what's it called?
I don't know. I threw the jar away.
Right there. What does that say?
I can't get up.
You can't see it? It's called Lucky Jack.
And it's organic.
Double black. Which to me sounds like it's a very strong brew. Tastes strong. But anyway, so we've been on this coffee kick where we get an iced brew every time. And I usually bring in the Groundworks iced brew, which is organic and it's pretty good shit. But I'll tell you one thing about coffee that I found, because I don't drink it all the time. But when I do, I'm quite sensitive to caffeine. And I'm sure, yes, I'm more sensitive to other people to caffeine, but I'm sure everybody has this to a degree, but may not be paying attention to it. But it's very, I think, important just like which kind of weed you smoke, which kind of coffee you're drinking.
Oh, because it has chemicals all through it.
Absolutely, because I'll tell you this much. Like the shit we're drinking right now and the shit that we've been drinking before, the groundwork stuff, is a very clean, I should say, caffeine buzz.
Mm-hmm.
So I go up and I come down nice and slow.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, I've had some coffee, especially the instant. There's something about instant coffee, but other brands, especially, and a lot of Starbucks brands.
Starbucks is gross.
Where I literally feel like I'm like, it just puts me in a bad mood.
Yeah, it makes you angry.
Or what's the word? I'm looking for antsy. Like I feel like antsy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
You know, like you feel adrenaline kind of just like a little adrenaline drip going in your system. And you're kind of like, this isn't fun. But then the shit we get, including this brew here, it's more like a stimulant, like a clean, you know, it's kind of lubricating our conversation.
Right.
You know, I'm sure when we play this back later, we're going to be like this.
No.
Like, slow the fuck down.
Not like that.
No more of that coffee. But no, it's like I noticed that it's sort of a pleasant coffee buzz, right? With the organic shit, and especially. And when you have like, you know, a brand that's more like a cheaper, or like, you know, like they said on Pulp Fiction with in that scene where everyone's loving his coffee, Quentin Tarantino's brand of coffee, because he buys the good gourmet shit because he wants to enjoy his coffee. It's kind of like that, where for me, it's not about the taste enjoyment. It's about the high that I get from coffee. And I'm telling you, man, there's some brands out there that are just like, it's like speed type shit. Like, you know, if you've ever done blow back in your crazy days.
No, I never.
Never have?
Nope.
Well, the shit that's clean, that's as clean as I guess you can get street cocaine in the United States as, but it's more of like a mellow kind of high. Like it's like a triple shot of cappuccino or triple shot of espresso right into your brain. You know what I mean? Boom. And you're good. But the stuff that's cut with something is very jittery. And that's kind of the analogy, you know, I draw with different coffees. But anyway, so yeah. I can't believe the barista told him no ice. And I believe him too. I know baristas like that.
Yeah, it was funny.
I used to go to this, when I was living in New York, I used to go to this coffee shop in East Williamsburg. And I don't remember the name. Super duper hipster hangout, but really cool. Like, it, you know, it looked like it was like a warehouse. And they kind of converted it, and then they, like a small warehouse, and they turned it into, you know, a coffee shop, and they have like these desks, like remember the desks you would have like in elementary school, like built into the chair. And it was kind of cool that way. And I used to go in there, and some of those baristas were snooty as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, like they were judging me based on like the cup that I wanted to get.
And it's like you make minimum wage and you're judging me on my coffee order. Like, shut the fuck up.
So they're very like, they're kind of like wine snobs, but with coffee. You know, they're sommeliers of the bean.
And
you know?
yet they're still in the service industry.
Hey man, maybe they just love coffee, you know.
Yeah.
We shouldn't hate on it though, you know. I can be a prick as a bartender, and so can you.
Yeah, but
I'm not gonna lie. I judge some people based on what they order. If you order a fucking Long Beach, or no, my absolute favorite is
adios.
An adios. If you order an adios, you're a fucking retard.
Or you're just 21.
Right, because for those that don't know, and if you don't, stop listening to this podcast and go watch the Kardashians. But I'm sure the listeners that are into what we talk about probably know. But let's just say it anyway. There is nothing that you want out of a blue fucking Long Island / adios motherfucker / AMF that anybody that has one night of experience drinking would ever want to experience.
You order that when you're 21 and you want to get fucked up as quickly as possible. And also it's because you haven't yet figured out what it is you like to drink.
Yeah. I mean, they're mildly okay tasting.
Right.
And
but as you grow older and your palate becomes more refined, hopefully, you don't order those. That's a 21-year-old drink. I mean, when we turned 21, we drank garbage.
I did. I drank Long Islands. I didn't know about AMFs then.
Yeah.
But first of all, what the fuck is Blue Curacao? Nobody actually knows what it is. I think
It's a triple sec with fucking food coloring. That's it.
I think it's like the anal juice of guinea pigs dyed blue.
It is a triple sec. That's all.
I know.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's just blue. It's just triple sec with blue color added. That's it. That's all it is. But you basically, depending on how you make the AMF, you have 4 to 5 different liquors in one cocktail.
It's a Long Island. That's
Holy
blue.
shit,
That's
man.
it. I mean, it's...
Yeah, talk about mixing. And that's a real thing, man. I have known that when I stick to one thing, or just beer in one liquor, you're good.
Yeah.
But the moment you start getting 1 more or 2 more or 3 more liquors involved, you're fucked. The next day, you're just fucked.
True.
That's why, kids, you don't drink AMFs. Anyway.
Right.
But yeah, if you go to a bar and you order an adios motherfucker and you're anywhere else in the world besides Tijuana, Mexico, that bartender is judging you. I'm telling you right now.
Absolutely.
First of all, he knows that you're inexperienced. And second of all, he knows you're probably not going to tip. And that's just the truth. Because people that order...
Or it might be a dead giveaway that you're not even 21 yet.
Yeah, right. I'm going to have to see an ID. Anyway, so there's that. What are some other amateur cocktails?
People who are brand new to drinking, and I did this too, they'll be like, can I get a pina colada or strawberry daiquiri?
And you're in a busy fucking club, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
5 deep at the bar.
Well, you know, foreigners come in and ask for that shit a lot. They'll want a frozen cocktail at a nightclub.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's what?
And 4 different mojitos.
Always the mojitos.
Yeah,
And you know what I don't understand about that? Foreigners, like people from Europe and Australia, they come over here and they order mojitos like they've never had one before. And I'm like, first of all, it's a Cuban cocktail, not an American cocktail. So I don't know why you all come here and order a mojito. Second of all, it has mint and lime, which you have in your country. You can get mojitos in your country. I don't understand why people come to America and order that drink.
I can't vouch for Australia, but I can vouch for Europe in general. Mojitos are very common in Western Europe. Very common. It's like their go-to cocktail besides gin and tonics.
Okay.
Like that's all they drink. Gin and tonics, mojitos. That's it.
Okay. So they order it because that's what they know.
They order it because that's what they know. And that's where I'm kind of like, dude, I would not go to Barcelona and order a fucking Manhattan. I just wouldn't do it. First of all, I know it's not going to be right. And second of all, I want to know what you motherfuckers drink, which is gin and tonics and mojitos. But you know what? I know I'm going to have the best gin and tonic of my life if I'm in England.
Yeah.
Because they ask for tonic by name. I'll have a Gordon's and XYZ tonic. And they'll do that with me. Like, when they come to my bar, they'll and do you have whatever tonic? And I'm like, dude, I just got this shit on the gun. It says tea.
Yeah,
just says tea on the gun. Like, I'm sorry, we're not like you guys. We're not connoisseurs. So, in that same sense, I think it's like if you're not from America and you want to visit America, go to a bar and drink some shit. Don't order what you fucking drink back home. Explore a little bit. Let it be part of the experience.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to Barcelona. I'm not going to go to London and order a fucking Manhattan because you're going to fuck it up, first of all. And second of all, it's not, you guys don't drink that shit. I want to drink the best gin and tonic I've had in my life. So when you go to America, you go to New York especially, order a Manhattan. Order an old fashioned. These are old American cocktails.
Right.
So do that.
An aviation, perhaps. Or a Boulevardier, which actually may not even be an American cocktail, but you get the drift. So when I go to Italy, I'm going to order a fucking Negroni because that's going to be the best fucking Negroni I've ever had. Or an Aperol Spritz.
I like how you say it with the gay accent. Let me hear that again.
I can't.
Say spritz.
That was a one-off.
That was a one-off?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, it kind of like, it's always internationals that order mojitos. And it's usually like some shitty, like, fill in the blank fruit mojito. It can't just be a regular mojito. It's got to be like a fucking...
Like a strawberry mojito.
Yeah, or can you do mango? Do you have mangoes? No, we don't have mangoes.
Yeah.
Nobody has fucking mangoes.
Right.
Except for a place called Mangoes, perhaps. That's it. Maybe Applebee's, but they suck. So...
Right?
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
No, they always ask for like a frozen drink or a mojito.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
always.
But let me talk about women for a second.
Oh, okay. Is that how we're segueing?
In general, same topic.
Oh.
In general, I feel like women have a more, in general, I'm not speaking about you. Kind of. Women remind me of a children's palate. Like they're like children. Like if a child was an adult, but with a child, you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
and they never know what they want to drink for the most part. Like, I mean, there are some women that they know and they order it and that's it. But other women are like, I don't know. I want something kind of
sweet and fruity.
Or they'll say the opposite. Like, I want a skinny. And the other day at work, I had this table and the two girls kept wanting, we have like these different margaritas on the menu. Mm-hmm. But one has a lavender syrup in it. And the lavender syrup.
Ooh, I like lavender.
But it's not a house-made lavender syrup.
It's good for your bowels.
Okay, that's great. It's not a house-made lavender syrup. It's that Monin shit that has the Monin syrup.
The cheap shit, yeah.
Which is like corn syrup and like artificial dye and fake flavoring.
Right.
And that's where the sweetness in the margarita comes from, that lavender sugary syrup.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, I can't make it skinny because otherwise it won't be a lavender margarita. The only way for me to make it skinny is to not put the lavender in it, and then therefore it won't be a lavender. And they
don't get it. Right?
You could see like the smoke coming out of their ears because they didn't understand what I was saying.
Right.
So then they wanted the ginger margarita. And I'm like, well, that's the same thing. The ginger syrup is where the sugar is coming from. So if I leave that out to make it skinny, there will be no ginger. I'm like, just order the fucking drink the way that it comes.
Here's the thing about people that order skinny, which has become a very popular thing to ask for.
I can't hate too much because I used to do it, but I wouldn't ask for specialty margarita skinny. I would just say, make me this drink, but leave out the simple syrup, or just do half the amount of simple syrup.
Right. I mean, at that point, I get the ignorance with it. Not everyone knows what it actually means to be skinny. I think they know that there's no sugar, but I don't know if they understand that if you don't put sugar in a cocktail that has citrus, it's basically going to be as bitter or as sour as lemonade without sugar.
Right. It's bitter as fuck.
Or straight lemon juice, because most cocktails that can be turned into a skinny cocktail have a citrus element. That either lime or lemon.
Right, and if you don't
offset that with
sweetness, it's bitter.
Because I don't know if you know, but if you ordered a skinny lemonade, you would basically be ordering lemon juice
and water.
So what I do is when people, because I call me whatever, but I don't want to get into that banter that you just talked about, because you will, because you'll never be able to educate them. So what I do is when someone says, I want a skinny margarita, I make it exactly the same and they're happy as fucking
Yeah, but I do that too. But in this particular incident, if you want to order our specialty lavender cucumber margarita, I can't make it skinny. It's not possible.
But the thing is what you do is instead of getting into that little banter, which is wasting your time and your energy, you just make it the way it is and smile at them and say, there's your skinny, and they fucking will never know the difference.
But it's going to be sweet.
And they'll never know. It can be sweet and they'll think they're getting skinny. Why is this sweet? Oh, it's just the triple sec.
Yeah, I guess.
You know what I mean? Because, again, if you're that dumb, you're not going to know. Skinny? Really? No. Order a fucking vodka soda.
Yeah.
If you want skinny, because it's not going to taste good. You can't balance it like that. Or have something on the rocks. Have a vodka. Have a tequila on the rocks. That's a true skinny, cocktail.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like how every episode we've gotten into a bartender rant.
Have we?
The last couple.
I don't remember.
We didn't the first one, but definitely me and Adir, and then me, you, and Colin, and now.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Me, you, and Colin got into it.
We did?
Bit. Yeah.
I can't remember.
It's all blur.
Is it? Did we really? Huh.
We got into a lot of topics. I've yet to listen to that, but I think I think we got some good shit on there. I can't wait to go through it.
Yeah, there's a lot of pet peeves with bartending, and I could go on for a while about it, but I don't know at the end of the day if it fucking matters.
Yeah, exactly. I think really what it boils down to is that, and maybe this is why the barista that Maron's talking about can be kind of a prick is you deal with a lot of really shitty, stupid people. And perhaps, Mr. Barista that doesn't want to give Maron ice, which he is going a bit far. I mean, that's just stupid. But I think he gets a lot of ridiculous requests. And I bet you baristas, by the way, are getting skinny, cappuccinos or skinny whatever.
Well, that's a thing, but that just means you use skim milk instead of whole milk.
Oh, it has nothing to do with the sugar content.
Well, no, also because they make all the coffee shops have sugar-free syrup, which is all chemicals.
Oh, I got you.
Because you can add like a flavor shot, like a vanilla or a hazelnut or a caramel, but they have the sugar-free versions, which are made with fucking artificial sweetener.
And so
you can order a skinny latte and it'll be skim milk with the sugar-free like vanilla syrup or whatever, but then that's just made with like aspartame, artificial garbage.
Here's again kind of tapping into like the health thing is my issue with people that order skinny. Like I get it and I get your motivation, but you're definitely entirely sort of you're better off going not. Because the amount of sugar in a margarita that's handmade, is so low. I mean, we're talking like a tablespoon of watered down sugar, which we call simple syrup, which, is not, it's just not enough to fuck you. What is it that you're so worried about? 20 grams of sugar, 10 grams of sugar. Let's be honest. You're drinking alcohol. Mm-hmm. Enjoy the fucking drink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's my thing with it. And if you do want to, it's like kind of like, let me drink a diet soda instead of regular soda. Well, one's going to give you diabetes and the other one's going to give you cancer. They both suck. You know what I mean? Might as well get the one that tastes good.
Yeah.
The one with sugar. Or Mexican Coke. Mexican Coke's the best because they use real sugar. They don't use high fructose corn syrup. They use actual sugar.
I've never had a Mexican Coke.
It's pretty good. It's a lot better. And you can get it at some places we'll have. It's always in the glass bottle. Mm-hmm. And, you'll see the Spanish written on it. Mm-hmm. And the first ingredient is agua. And the second ingredient is azúcar.
I love when you try to talk in an accent.
No, that was Spanish, man.
Okay.
That's why that prostitute marked me. Fucking gringo. And I was trying to speak Spanish with her too, and she was just like laughing.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
You lived in Spain, and you still haven't picked up any Spanish.
I was doing really good especially towards the end, when I was living in Spain. But you know what? When I came back to New York, I just didn't use it at all for like a whole year. Mm-hmm. And I just lost it, man. I mean, I'm sure if I really was back in the immersion, like I would get it back. Mm-hmm. But man, towards the end, I mean, it was starting to like, I can understand you. Like, it's kind of like blah, 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 sit, blah, 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 lay down. Blah, 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 good boy. And it was like, oh shit, I get what they're saying,
Okay.
Because I could speak it better my listening comprehension, I guess, is low, but my speaking was better, because I could say what I wanted to say, but to hear it, especially in Spain, because those motherfuckers are like, brrrah, like they're fast. Mm-hmm. They're faster. Like Mexicans are like slow. Mm-hmm. They're kind of like cowboys in comparison. Mm-hmm. So out in Spain is very different, and plus they have a funny accent with the lisp. They lisp a lot of C's and I think S's. Mm-hmm. So Barcelona is Barcelona. See, a lot of people, it's the Queen's Spanish or the King's Spanish. I don't remember how it started, but one of the rulers way back in the day had a lisp. And it became a thing where people started speaking with a lisp because whatever the king does or the court does is fashionable. So it became probably a thing where they don't want to offend the king. So then you speak with a lisp. And then everyone starts speaking because it's fashionable. And the next thing you know, that's just the way the fucking whole country speaks.
Interesting.
Yeah, it actually started from royalty and an actual lisp. Isn't that funny?
It is funny. I didn't know that.
From what I understand, that's a true story. I'm not making this shit up. Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yep. We got to work on your reel. We're going to do your voiceover reel, right?
Yes.
So now that I'm back, the next few days, I'll take a look at what you sent me. And then maybe, you should brainstorm some ideas of...
Well, I need to talk to Natalie's boyfriend because he's into voiceover, and he's been booking some things.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to him, and then you tell me, get some info out of him, and then we could put together.
Figure out how he's been doing it. It's just I have to find a way to like be in the same room with him.
Let me hear you talk about genital herpes, and sell this drug on me. Do it. Let's do it. Go.
I can't. I need a script to read.
Tell me how bad your herpes itch.
Gross. I can't fucking freestyle about herpes.
All right, how about the side effects? Just give me the side effects.
No, I don't know them. I need a script.
You need a script. Okay, you can't just go off the cuff.
No, I have no idea.
All right.
But I listened to some of these girls on this agent's website for their demo reels for their voiceover, and like I can do this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I can do what they're doing. Definitely. They have like a commercial one, like multiple commercial ones. Some of them do like animation and like voices for like cartoons and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So, and some of them don't do like character-y voices. They're just doing their real voice as like this fish or as this mouse or whatever, but they're kind of playing that character. And some of them are like audiobooks. I told you one of my coworkers, he does this audiobook that's like porn, and he makes $200 a month doing this voiceover for this like porn, like it's like a sex book, but they turn it into an audiobook. And he does the voiceover, and he has like a little fan club and stuff. He says he does like 10 different voices as these different characters for like this porn book.
Do they, is it like sound effects, or is it just the dialogue?
I think it's just dialogue.
Like when they're going at it, are you hearing the screen door flapping in the hurricane?
No,
you know what I mean?
I think it's it's just dialogue.
It's just dialogue.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like, I don't know. But he does it, and he says
that sort of pornography, written pornography, is usually for women, right? That's the demographic?
Right.
Yeah.
So, but he said they do it as an audiobook, and he's been getting paid. He only makes $200 a month, but he gets paid to do that.
$200 a month, and he's a sort of porn star.
Sort of, and he said he has like a following and a fan club and stuff. I don't know. So I'm like, okay, well, he's making some extra money doing that. I mean, that's not the type of voiceover I want to do, but
I'd like to be a fly on the wall on that book signing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably these older middle-aged women, these poor lonely souls.
Well, I guess it would be kind of like, I don't know what these books are. I forget the name of them, but I guess it would be kind of like 50 Shades of Grey. Just reading 50 Shades of Grey and turning that into an audiobook, because there was like tons of, like BDSM and stuff in there, and just the dialogue, just reading that off.
Interesting.
Things like that, I would imagine. I don't know, but that's not what I want to do.
So that whole rant was about you not wanting to do porn. Okay, cool. We got that. We'll get that. You can be a fish in a cartoon.
Okay.
I think you'd be a good fish.
Yeah.
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 There you go. See, already I'm into it. All right.
Let's go.
Oh, shit. I like that.
I could do.
So you're playing it up. You're like the playful.
I could do children's books, even though I hate kids.
Hey, man, nobody said you had to like kids to do a children's book.
Yeah, I mean, if it pays.
Fuck it. All right. Well, why don't we wrap it up here?
Wrap it up.
Nikki, thanks again.
Signing off.
For coming through, bringing in the Double Jack brew.
Yep.
Thanks to you, I'm not going to sleep tonight. But we banged out a good show. I like some of the material, so we'll put it up. I might squeeze it into one show instead of two. It's part one. That's it.
We'll see.
All right.
All right. Well, this was episode 4.
Episode 4 of the Future E.D.O podcast. We're still working on the O. We know what the E is. We know what the D is. But the O, what is that going to be?
I don't know.
And its future is just a badass word. So let's leave it here. And then, all right, signing off.
Signing off.
Bye.
Bye.